It's me, Mitch, and I'm here in the kitchen. Today, I'm going to make a steak, not just any steak. But maybe one of the most gorgeous porterhouses that I've found in quite a while. Porterhouse is just a T-bone. And a T-bone is basically just two different kinds of steak still on the bone that connects them. On one half, you have a New York strip. On the other side, you have a filet mignon. And as you slice down the prime, the filet part of it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then smaller and smaller. And those perfect cuts where that filet is as big as it can be, they call a porterhouse. A lot of butchers don't separate them. They just call them all T-bones. And if you shop at Sam's Club or Costco, you can be lucky and find a gorgeous porterhouse for the same price as a T-bone. Now, I was going to eat this yesterday. So I sous vide it yesterday, but then I decided there's a little more food that I wanted to eat last night. So I did something that you can do in sous vide, and that is just take it out of the immersion circulator and put it in the fridge. And then just reheat it a little bit the next day before you sear it off. I use the term sous vide a lot. It's spelled S-O-U-S-V-I-D-E, and it's a French word that means in a vacuum. The food is sealed in plastic, and these days it's perfectly safe plastic. And let me show you what it looks like. This is an immersion circulator. And what you have is this thing right here, which you take and you simply plug in. So let's plug it in here. That's it. And it's this easy. It wakes up. You set the temperature, and I sous vide to 128 degrees, and you set your timer. And I normally set it for 2 hours, but I don't need to cook it for 2 hours today. I just need to get it back up to 128 degrees, but it doesn't matter. Oops. 128 degrees. 2 hours, and I push start. Now what happens is this thing is sticking down into the water. Right there, see it? And it starts to circulate that water around. And since that water never really touches the food, you don't have to change it every time. You can change it once a week or so. There's a rack in this thing, and that holds the food under the water. So rather than start with a raw steak, come over here to the fridge, and I'll pull out this T-bone that's really already cooked. It's just a little cold, and I don't want to sear. I could sear it like this, but it would not get too hot in the center because searing just really heats up the outside edge. So I'm going to put this back in the water. Make sure that it's underwater. And close it. And I think that the beautiful thing about this is you can't overcook it. The water will be brought up to 128 degrees. You could leave this thing sit in 128 degrees water for hours and hours and hours, and it will never get over 128 degrees and never get overcooked. The longer you leave it in there, it may get a little more tender. This has already been sous vide for 2 hours. It'll take maybe 20 minutes to bring the water up to temperature, and then maybe I'll leave it in for another half an hour. So in about an hour, I'll be ready to sear it. And that's how we finish a sous vide. It's very easy. Takes very little time to do. So let's come back in about an hour and see what the next step's going to be. All right, this is done. So we'll unplug the immersion circulator, take out the steak, and it's actually perfectly cooked in here. What we're going to do now is we're going to sear it in some butter. But first, we need to dry it off. So we'll cut the bag open. Get some tongs and pull this. And at this point in the sous vide process, the meat looks sometimes a little unappetizing. But I gotta tell you, it's a beautiful piece of meat. And we will dry it off. And since I sous vide it before, I salted it because I had vacuum sealed it and put it in the freezer. Before we cook it, before we sear it off, we'll salt it. And I'm just going to use a little Himalayan pink salt in this little grinder that I have. And as I get the Dubai carbon steel pan right there, as I get it ready, we will turn it on to kind of a medium-high heat, and I'm going to sear it in butter. So I'll get a little butter right here, put it in the pan, and let it melt. In the meantime, while the pan heats up, I'm going to talk a little bit about all the gadgets that I use. All the gadgets that I use. And from the immersion circulator with the tub with the lid and the rack in it, the Anova immersion circulator right here, to the Dubai carbon steel pan, which without a doubt is the best way to sear a steak. These are a few tools that you need. And I want to take a second and play a little commercial of mine for my Amazon links to all the stuff I use. All of these different kitchen gadgets. Everything that I have on my counter here. Air fryers. Everything. Be right back. You can go to my website at OldGuyCarnivore.com. On there I've got a page that says links to stuff I use every day. These links take you to Amazon affiliate links of mine, and when you buy something through these links, it helps support the channel. Here is everything I use, every kitchen tool, gadget, and everything else. If you think, and there's no obligation, but if you think you might want to get some of the stuff that I use in my videos and do this yourself, whether it be food, supplements, kitchen appliances, tools, gadgets, frying pans, whatever, I would really appreciate it. OldGuyCarnivore.com, links to stuff I use page. Doesn't cost you a dime more, and you're really helping me continue to do what I do. Thanks so much, and let's get back to it now. What better way do I enjoy my steaks than eating them primal style off of wood? Cutting them with a beautifully razor sharp knife. Makes you glad to be a carnivore. Many of you have gotten these wood plates. They're on Amazon, on my links to stuff I use page as well. Frying pan is starting to heat up. Another gadget that I find absolutely almost indispensable is this. An infrared thermometer. They're very inexpensive. And it's telling me that this pan is 300-400 degrees already, so it's hot enough. It's hot enough to sear this steak. So let me put this down here, aim it down at the pan so you can see. This is when it'd be nice to have a camera crew, but this is just some old guy showing you how I do carnivore, and God, has it worked great for me. So let's get this steak. We want to sear it. Oh, is this thing gorgeous? This has got to be a pound and a half of beautiful porterhouse. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on the range hood right now because we are going to make some smoke, and I'm going to sear the edges. The fat around the edges, I'm going to sear them off first. This is an important step when you sear a steak. You want to make sure to crisp up all that fat around the outside. This is a huge steak. It's going to be maybe somewhat of a challenge for me to finish the whole thing, but that's fine. This stuff is great as leftovers, even as part of an entire meal, if I have any leftovers. And this is a lot of meat. This is my second meal of the day. And I'm going to eat until my body tells me you've had enough, until satiety sets in. So we will sear off the outside edges of this. And you can see how it crisped up the fat. And the thing about carbon steel is it holds the heat. It holds the heat tremendously. It heats evenly. It's very heavy and requires almost no cleanup. Wow, wow, wow. Look at that. And now I'm just going to leave it go. Just going to leave it alone. Let it sear for a minute to a minute and a half. to prep this steak for the sous vide is nothing more than putting it in a bag and vacuum sealing it. For that I use my WeVac vacuum sealer. This gizmo right here, it is a commercial grade vacuum sealer that is fabulous, a chamber style vacuum sealer. I have videos about this. Many of you have bought these. You'll find the link on my website. It's not an Amazon link, it's a factory direct to WeVac themselves. And if you use that link, you'll get a 15% discount. They have a smaller model than this, but this is the CM12. It is, without a doubt, my favorite vacuum sealer. I can prep a whole Sam's Club haul in a very short period of time, portion it out, vacuum seal them, throw them in the freezer, where they can potentially be good for a year plus, maybe even a year and a half. Take it out when you need it, throw it in the fridge. It thaws overnight. Throw it in the sous vide and then sear it. You will not, and you'll see, you'll be amazed when you see what the end result of this turns out to be. It is incredible. Well, let's see. Another nice thing about carbon steel is you can't scratch it up. You can use metal utensils. It's not like a non-stick coating. So let's take a look at this and see what it looks like. Look at that gorgeous sear. Look at that. And now we'll just leave it for a minute or so on that side. All right. I'm going to take this steak, put it on this plate. Wow, look at that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get myself a towel. I'm going to pour a little of this butter onto the steak. These are heavy pans. So look at that. Look at that. Not only am I eating off of a wood plate, I'm eating off of wood on top of wood. Okay, moment of truth, my friends. Let's cut into this and see what we have. Let's start with this fillet part right here. Let's just remove it from the bone. It's that easy. It just falls off. Look at that. Let's cut the fillet and see what that looks like. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Man, I can't wait to taste this. This is gorgeous. So let's cut a slice of this here. And here we go. It's perfect. A nice crust on the outside. Tender. Juicy on the inside. There's plenty of juice in here you can dunk it into. It is fabulous. Nothing but salt. Maybe one of the healthiest meals a human being can eat. And your body knows that it's what you need because it just tastes so delicious, and that's what the purpose of taste is for. To let us know we're eating the right stuff. Unlike the taste of many vegetables, which down in our heart we know we shouldn't be eating. And this completes the experience, my friends. This is what it means to be a carnivore. And I don't care if it's a ground beef patty, a chicken thigh, salmon cakes fried in bacon grease, any other meal that's nutritious and consists solely of some kind of an animal, meat, salt, and a nice primal eating experience is the meaning and the enjoyment of being a carnivore. And when you eat like this, the last things that will ever cross your mind are that plethora of crap that you're addicted to, with all that sweet, nasty taste, harmful chemicals, and everything else. So my friends, here's to your health and to mine. Thanks for watching. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.